Here's a question for you. Is UX design hard? So the short answer is yes, it's difficult, but don't get discouraged because in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can simplify that process. And I'm also going to share what my experience has been, what my challenges are working as a UX designer, and what you can do about overcoming those challenges too. All right, let's go. Hey, what's up guys? It's Enoch Madrid here, and I'm back with another video on UX design. And on this one, I'm gonna answer the question, is UX design hard? Let's get started. So in my experience, and I've been in UX design for about 4 or 5 years now, I've had a lot of challenges. And the first one that comes to mind that's difficult for me is dealing with other people, different personality types. You have people like product managers, you have developers, you have your bosses, and really, like, you have to deal with these different types of people with different backgrounds, which in part it's good, but it's also difficult because there's different likes, there's different taste to designs, and you're going to get all that feedback, and everybody wants to have a voice. They want to have an opinion on the design, the solutions, and whatnot. So that's the first thing that comes to mind, is dealing with other people. And I tell you, it's difficult. And I think this is something that you're going to have to deal with in different types of jobs. You're always going to deal with people. So you as a UX designer, the first thing that comes to mind is to be able to have empathy. This is something that's worked for me when I deal with other people, other coworkers, is to be able to put yourself in the shoes of that person, understanding what their role is and what it is that they're looking for. So let's say, for example, I get a task, and I know that when I finish a design, I have to then pass it over to the developer. And of course, they're going to look for specs, for, guides on what the spacing of this component, this button is. And I have to basically design with those specs so that the developer can do his job and it can simplify it for that developer. But then if I can't present that to a product owner or a manager or a boss. What I need to present them is maybe an entire full web page with all the components, because they want to see the overall picture of the design. They don't care about the specs. They want to see that because that's what they're going to present to the stakeholders and make decisions that way. So putting yourself in the shoes and understanding what your coworkers and other people, what they're looking for, that's going to help. And that's called empathy, which is, I talked about this in that other video. Another one of my challenges that I've had in the past working as a UX designer has been trying to get everybody on the same page. Like whenever there's a kickoff meeting for a new project, a new feature or something like that, we'd have these meetings, and you as a UX designer, you kind of want to get everybody aligned, on the same page. That right there, that's been difficult because it's kind of like in the minds of those people in that room, in that meeting, whether it's virtual, however the meetings go now that we work from home, working remotely. I know things changed in COVID, but having to align everybody with a concept, with an idea, that's difficult. And like the way that I've dealt with it, the way I've overcome this is to try to give context. Understand, like I try to give an example of a user story or a scenario that's applicable to the business, and that way I can paint a picture of what the problem is so that we can all kind of like pitch in on trying to find a solution. Usually giving context at the beginning helps, and like, yeah, you want to take in, ideas from other people, but like if you don't get that idea aligned, everybody on the same page, then the expectations, they become something else. And trust me, like that's happened to me a lot of times. So Yeah, try to build context and write things down. Have them note it like on Confluence or something like that, where whatever project management platform that you use, write these notes down like X person said this, X person said that, and these are the solutions that we came up with. And then you write them down into bullets, you send that email, and then get everybody on the same page. If they're not, if there's an issue, then you can re-meet, do another meeting, and go over these things again. However, you want to get everybody on the same page. So another one of the things that I've had difficulty, and it's been a challenge, is to be able to explain to a non-technical person why something won't work, why we can't execute a certain feature or a certain UI pattern. Now, like I come from web development as a background. I understand like responsive design, how code works, everything from, I mean, I've been a full stack developer, but like there are certain things in UI design that maybe you can't do because of responsive design. You can't just take one component with an image over here and text down here, and then all of a sudden on mobile it switches the entire order. You have to change the DOM, the HTML structure. These are things that a non-technical person won't understand. So it's difficult to explain these things. So the way I try to overcome this is to explain to that person or whoever's in charge, a product manager. I try to explain, like, look, we can't do this certain feature because we're changing the code, the structure, the order, whatever it is that, we technically can't change. It just won't work. Maybe responsive design or something. And I try to tell them, look, the way that we're going to solve this, I have this idea. Maybe we could do it this way. So I try to bring up a different solution, something else and I try to make it exciting too. Like, look, let's do this. This is going to be much better. And it's a mobile first design approach, and you shouldn't be able to get to this point if you're doing the UI correctly, if you're designing it correctly. But, sometimes these things happen and technically you can't do certain things. And maybe the solution came from another designer who does not understand how HTML works, how the DOM works, or how responsive design behaves on a browser or different browser, whatever the case is, and then these things happen. So you want to come up with a different solution and have that, ask your backup before you even present, before you even tell that, hey, we can't, just push back on this feature or whatever it is that won't work. So always have a backup ready for, for making an argument. And if you can have some data that backs up whatever design decisions you made, even better. Like if you have that proof, that makes your argument stronger. And, there's not going to be any pushback from whoever your manager or whatever people are involved in that project. All right, moving on. So the next challenge that I have is detaching yourself from a design that you put together. And this is difficult because you have to get to that point where you know how to take feedback, you know how to take constructive criticism. And I know that at the beginning when I started, doing designs and something did not get approved, man, that sucked a lot. Like I hated it because I put my heart and soul into whatever the design solution was, and then I have to go back and change it. But that's the nature of design. And you want to get to that point where it's like a level of maturity where you understand that you need this feedback. You need the constructive criticism to make your design much better. And sometimes, like you get that from people that are non-designers, sometimes from developers. And like having that level of open-mindedness and understand that what they're trying to do is help you, not attack you. That's where you want to get to, and I think it's maturity. I think it comes with experience. At the beginning, a lot of junior designers, you can tell when they get defensive And it just comes with experience as you design, as you deal with other people, and you receive these constructive criticisms. So that's another one of those challenges that makes UX hard. But hopefully, once you understand that you have control over your emotions, over what you can design, and have that communication with the people that you work with, then it makes it much simpler. All right, so this last one, I left it for last because it's the most exciting one. This is the hardest one that I have a problem with. It's difficult, but I have ways of overcoming this. So what it is to design an existing application, maybe a feature on an existing website or application, where you have to basically limit your creativity. So let's say you have to design a feature on a website that's pretty old, it's non-responsive. I don't know, you're working with a company that they want to make an update. They can't fully do a redesign of that website, but you need to make some features. You need to add, I don't know, some additions to it. Now, it's difficult because it limits your creativity, what you can do. Maybe you don't have the design system that they use. Maybe they did not even use a design system, and you have to use whatever UI patterns that they have in order to add on to that existing website. And I hate it because sometimes I don't even have the tools to be able to manipulate what's existing. So I have to kind of like take screenshots or whatever the case is, like that's how I deal with it. I would take screenshots of whatever it is and then chop it up in Photoshop and then bring it over to Sketch, wherever the white space is, and then I'll add in whatever UI elements needs to get added onto that page. Like, that sucks because now you are limited to what you can do, and you're excited to wanting to create, beautiful UI designs, but you can't. And that really sucks. Like, this happens a lot where companies that have legacy software, and man, you just have to do your job. That's something that's happened to me before. And yeah, you have to deal with this in UX design sometimes. Hopefully not now. We're in 2021 now, but who knows? There's probably still software out there that needs UI design updates. All right, guys, so there you have it. Hopefully now you understand why UX design is hard, but not so hard that you get discouraged. I want you guys to understand, what the challenges are, and hopefully, my experience on overcoming these has helped you in somehow, some way. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. All right, have a good one. Peace.